FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA. Presented by St. Barnabas and streaming live at beavercountyradio.com.
And we're back on AM Beaver County on this Tuesday morning, and we're also now on Facebook Live as well, as we're joined by a couple members of the Beaver Valley Musicians Union, and I'll have you guys introduce yourselves.
I'm Bob Headland, and my friend, Tom Munroe.
Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
And so we're talking today about the Beaver Valley Musicians Union and all of the different groups and all the different shows they're going to be putting on throughout the course of the next few months. That's summertime, and of course, most of these concerts are going to be outdoors, and most of these are going to be available to the public. Excuse me. And Bob, I'll turn to you first. How long does it take to get all of this organized? How long does it take to get all these shows put together?
They start, believe it or not, in the fall before the summer season starts. So,
oh wow! So
what they do is they approach the Beaver County Commissioners and request a grant to help underwrite the cost of the concerts. And then once the county commissioners approve the grant, then they start the ball rolling, trying to contact the venues themselves, Beaver Falls or wherever the groups are playing, and the band leaders to coordinate where they're going to play, what dates they're going to play. And right now it's in June, and things are cemented as far as the schedule of band events.
Yeah, and not only that, but there's so many different band events as well, because it's not just a matter of one group playing one kind of music. It's several groups playing several different kinds of music, whether it's jazz, big band, more symphonic material, and we can go into all the different types of groups. How many different groups are there that are part of the Beaver Valley Musicians Union?
There are about 7 right now that are scheduled in the series.
And some of them include, I know the Swing of Bobcats Big Band's one of them. Also included is the Monaca Cornet Band, the Beaver Valley Symphonic Wind Ensemble, and that's just a few right off the top of my head. There are others involved as well.
There are 7 altogether.
Yeah. And you guys go all over the place. You guys play in places all the way from 37th Street Park in Beaver Falls, Chippewa Park in Chippewa, all the way down to Old Economy Village in Ambridge. And how many musicians are altogether part of the union?
I believe, what's our census figure, Tom?
We're between 66 and 70 in the union. Some of the members of these organizations are not union members. They don't get paid when we have a performance.
Right.
And the payment is really a very nominal payment. It certainly doesn't cover the costs of getting to and from rehearsals, et cetera. We do this because we like to do this. So it's a labor of love as well.
Well, I was going to ask too, like if somebody listening wants to become a member of the Beaver Valley Musicians Union to play in some of these concerts and get involved with that because they love to play, how would they do that?
Well, I would suggest they contact the union. The union website is bvmusiciansunion.org. And there is a Gmail account there, bvmu82545@gmail.com. And if you contact us through that site, then we can get you in touch with and get you the details on the various bands that may have openings and what nights they rehearse, where they rehearse, etc. And some of the organizations are pretty well set. The smaller groups aren't going to be as likely to have openings.
Right.
But some of the larger groups are pretty much open anytime you want, and we do not do formal auditions. Most everyone is welcome, and we have musicians of varying talents within the group, but when you put them all together, it's a stellar performance.
Yes, because again, going back to Bob's point earlier, and I think Tom, you mentioned it as well, you do it for the love of it. You do it for the fact of wanting to do it, and because of that, there's usually the backbone of we're going to do this as best we can whenever it gets to it. So there's really no need for audition because it's already established of, hey, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to play this part. And, what music are we going to play? And if I'm not mistaken, because I believe, Bob, you're an example of this, you can be part of multiple groups if there are openings.
Definitely. I belong to 3 groups involved with the union, plus I'm part of the Beaver Valley Choral Society's orchestra, which
Right.
is where I happen to meet you.
That is true. That is true from many moons ago, and perhaps moons in the future too. But that's another conversation down the line.
In fact, I play with 5 different groups, and believe it or not, we're still not divorced.
No kidding. Wow. That is impressive. Now, what guy? I know, Bob, you play trombone. I think you play a couple other instruments as well. Tom, what do you play?
I play trombone as well.
No kidding. So somehow we gathered 3 trombonists in the same room at the same time. I don't know if that's a concerning thing, but we'll figure out in the next few minutes.
We could do a trio, but I didn't bring my instrument.
I didn't bring mine either, unfortunately. If only I had thought about it. But no, that's a good thing too. And these bands that perform, they're open to many different types of instruments because the wind ensemble, obviously, it's sort of restricted to just wind instruments.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it's pretty much a matter of what style of music and who's up for playing that type of music. Because I imagine something like a big band like the Swinging Bobcats, they can incorporate clarinets and saxophones to a certain degree as well. What other organizations are looking for certain musicians at this point?
I'd like to put in a pitch for the Monaca Cornet Band. We're definitely looking for clarinet players. If you play an oboe or a bassoon, probably could use some more trumpet players. So just alto saxophone. So we have quite a few openings. If you're interested, we're only doing 1 concert this year, but it's a lot of fun just rehearsing and socializing with the other people in the group. You get a double bonus from playing music.
Now, how long do the rehearsals usually last?
Usually about 2 hours.
2 hours
for the average group. The concert bands are 2 hours, and I know the Swinging Bobcats rehearse for 2 hours as well.
And so and it's just a matter of refreshing chops and making sure that everything's sort of in place because again, I think one of the things that sort of we haven't talked about is the fact that for those who play in the union, you do the shows every year and there's sort of standards that go along with it. So once you become a part of it, you sort of have those already sort of internalized. So if there is any new material, it's not necessarily a big jump where it will just sort of blend in with everything else.
Right.
And, we've talked a lot about sort of the preparation. And again, we'll put links at beavercountyradio.com later on involved with the Beaver Valley Musicians Union as far as how to be a part of it. But let's talk about the shows themselves because they're coming up soon. And in fact, I believe some of them have already taken place, right? Or have they not yet?
They are going to be starting this coming Friday. Our first concert coming up is on June 17th at Chippewa Park. And it features the Beaver County Brass, a brass quintet. And the concert there is at 7 o'clock. If it rains, the concert will be rescheduled 48 hours later on Sunday the 19th at 7. So you have either or just in case.
Now, is it a matter of just a time change and there won't be any venue changes, or is there a possibility of venue change?
There wouldn't be a venue change at all with that.
Okay.
Since Chippewa Township is co-sponsoring the event.
Gotcha. And again, that's just the first of many events with the Beaver Valley Musicians Union. And what are some of the other ones coming up as well?
Well, the remainder of this month on June 19th, that I believe is Sunday, the Beaver County Symphonic Wind Ensemble, under the direction of Kevin Newton, will be performing in the Flower Garden of Old Economy Village in Ambridge, and that's at 2 in the afternoon. And then 2 days later, on Tuesday, June 23rd, or 21st rather, June 21st at 7 p.m., the Beaver County Symphonic Wind Ensemble performs at Hopewell Community Parks Amphitheater in Hopewell Township.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of the amphitheater. I've yet to go down there myself, but I've seen it. It looks like a very, very nice venue to hold a concert. And what one of the best things about this concert, at least from the public's perspective, is that they do not need any admission to attend. It's a matter of you show up with your friends, your loved ones, and you just enjoy the show.
I should mention, going back to the Old Economy Village concert, if it would rain in the Flower Garden, that event will be held inside in the Feast Hall at Old Economy.
Okay.
And then in Hopewell, their series, if it rains, those concerts are held at the Hopewell Junior High School on Broadhead Road.
Okay, so for those particular ones, there may be a venue change in case of weather. But in the case of the Chippewa concert, there will not be. It'll be a matter of rescheduling the show.
Right.
It should be mentioned that the audience should bring lawn chairs and probably a beverage or at least some water or a snack if they want to eat during the program.
Right.
Because most venues do not have food for sale or anything like that. Midland being the exception. They will have food trucks
Oh, very nice.
down in Midland for those concerts.
Very nice, very nice. But that is a good thing to know that it's a bring your own situation if you want to enjoy. I mean, you could just sit on the ground and eat nothing for a while, but it's not necessarily the most applicable situation to be in. But
Or bring a blanket.
Or bring a blanket. That's a good point. You
Have a
bring
picnic.
There you go. Do a picnic style. Have the music playing and just enjoy a little bit of food and R&R for either a Friday or Sunday. And that's the other thing too, is that you guys play almost every day. It's not just a matter of we're going to play on the weekends and that's it. No, you guys play pretty much every day that it is available to you guys.
There are rehearsals every night of the week.
That's true too. So whenever you're not playing, you're rehearsing, which means you're still playing, just not for an audience. We're talking with Bob Headland and Tom Munroe from the Beaver Valley Musicians Union about the upcoming concerts. And again, we'll post links and the upcoming shows at beavercountyradio.com later on this morning. And from your guys' perspective, what is one of the biggest benefits, I mean, aside from just playing music, of being in the Beaver Valley Musicians Union?
I would say one of the best part of being in the union is the fraternal feel of working together as a team to make music, to not only entertain the public, but to enjoy the art of making music.
That's true.
Keeping our skills up.
Yeah.
You learn it in high school, playing a band instrument.
Mhm.
And when you get out of high school, you go to college, maybe drift away from music, maybe pursue an occupation, and you drift away from the music. But if you still keep active musically, it's very rewarding. And
Right.
It keeps you mentally alert as well.
Right, because even though those in the union will tell you, it's a matter of doing what you love. It's not always easy, and it's not always the pieces are not necessarily twinkle twinkle little star. Some of them can get pretty complicated at times.
I've got to give credit to Kevin Newton for coordinating everything this year. He and Tony Valvo, the treasurer of the union, have, as the events committee, organized the events, been working with the county commissioners, doing all the background work. Plus, Kevin has been working intensely with the Beaver County Symphonic Wind Ensemble. Every Monday evening, we've been rehearsing for 2 hours. And this coming weekend, we make our summer debut.
And again, that's a matter of rehearsing over the course of the last several months to get to this point, because it's it'd be nice to just sort of take winter off and then just sort of kick back into it like April to be ready for a June show. But it's not necessarily that easy. It takes a lot of time to really fine tune things in order to get them ready for a show. And again, when it comes to playing in these groups, I take it there's no age restrictions or anything like that as far as...
We have students in high school going all the way up to senior citizens. I think our oldest member is in his upper 80s.
No kidding.
So everybody in between.
That is great.
Male, female, doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true. It's just a matter of can you play, and can you play with the passion to play, and that's...
Bring your own axe and bring your own stand.
Yeah. That's one way to put it. That's and that alone, as long as you have the old instrument in the case or in the whatever case it is that you use, as long as you have the stuff ready,
Right.
if you have your stuff and you can play, you're part of the union.
Right. Exactly.
Is there anything else as far as, I know we talked about some of the upcoming shows, and again, we'll have a full list of that at beavercountyray.com. Is there anything else as far as attending them or something like that that we should mention that we haven't mentioned yet that's sort of an important thing?
Well, admission is always free.
True.
There's no charge for playing. You don't have to go into Pittsburgh to hear good music.
That's very true, and that's a big benefit to that you don't have to go all the way out to the big city and deal with all that traffic. That is good. And on top of that, it is also, I think another word that comes to mind is versatility, because, some of these groups, you have to have the versatility in order to play the music to a certain extent, because, yes, there are groups that, sort of have one set thing, but, the more versatile you are, the better chance you have at being in one of these groups.
Right.
And so that is what, allows for that. Because what are some of the favorite pieces that you guys usually do? Like, what are some of the ones that do sort of come back every now and then?
Do you have a favorite, Tom?
Well, there's some favorites of the audience, particularly with the swing bands. Everybody loves Glenn Miller's In the Mood.
Oh, yes.
So it almost always gets into most of the programs. We try to vary the programs because the musicians like to play different tunes as well, but there are certain tunes that the audience almost always expects, so we try to address that as well with the swing bands. Almost all of the groups play a nice mix of music, whether it be popular or a little bit more classical or a show tune or whatever it might be, that will really appeal to all age groups. The wind ensemble plays marches and show tunes and some more classical things. And one of the pieces we're going to perform this year is from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
And that's a very exciting piece. So it's going to be nice when we first play it in public, which will be here shortly.
And that's cool too, because again, people sort of tend to think of just, they may hear like symphonic music or sort of show tunes and think, oh, that's just old stuff. But no, a lot of that is part of, cinema even today. Like you mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean or something like Star Wars, which still comes out with content seemingly every year for whatever reason. And, it all pertains to society as it is today. And it's that music that does add that, level of atmosphere to it, and as it will add to the atmosphere of those who come out to these concerts presented by the Beaver Valley Musicians Union over the course of the next few weeks. So again, and that's a good point, Tom, very relevant to what's going on today, and as much as it is, pieces of the past from, the 1800s and even further back. So again, the Beaver Valley Musicians Union, and the first concert is Friday
in Chippewa Park.
And if
Beaver County Brass.
7 p.m.
7 p.m., free admission. Bring a blanket, bring food, and bring a near, because it's going to be a night for some good music presented by the Beaver Valley Musicians Union. So, Tom, Bob, thank you guys so much for coming in to talk about that. And again, we'll be looking out for you guys throughout the summer, as well as all of your constituents in the Beaver Valley Musicians Union throughout all these great concerts throughout Beaver County.
It's been a pleasure.
Before we sign off, I'd just like
Absolutely.
to express my thanks to the various sponsoring communities. They've been very vigorous in the past prior to COVID.
Yes.
But this was a whole new re-beginning here, and everybody has worked very hard and contributed very graciously to trying to get these concerts back as a standard in the Valley again.
Very good point, because again, it's that alone, not just you don't have to go to the city, but you can, actually go outside and do things once again, which I don't think should be taken for granted in any respect. So again, the first concert, Friday night, Chippewa Park, 7 p.m. from the Beaver Valley Musicians Union. We'll have full details coming up at beavercountyray.com later on this morning, again, including details on how you can possibly become a member of the Musicians Union. And again, Tom, Bob, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and best of luck this summer. Of course, best of skill as well, because it's what really drives the music that is being played all the time, is that skill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up next is Tower Forum following news on Beaver County Radio.
Are you ready for a life-changing career? Presley Ridge is seeking mental health